The return of the green tea, which is fitting because today we're talking about turtles. And it's fitting because they're also green. After this video, I'll show myself out. Well, hello there, everybody. I'm Photo Dave, and this is Toypixx. And whether this is your first or 100th time on the channel, Toypixx is all about action figure photography. So I talk about action figures, I talk about photography. We talk about what's going on in the industry, we talk about Photoshop tips and tricks. Everything I'm doing, I do to help you get better at your figure photography, and I'm hoping that in turn, I get better at my figure photography. So if that kind of thing sounds cool to you, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Now, this week's been less about photography and more about the action figure side of things. So for today, we're going to keep that trend, and we're going to keep that going for the rest of the week, with today being my top 5 NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic figures I want to see. Whew! That was a mouthful. Let's get to it. Now, I don't have a whole ton of experience with NECA. I have Fugitoid. He's a fine figure. He's cool. I mean, I don't know what they could have done to make him better. You know, I thought he did exactly what he needed to do. He came with plenty of accessories. I'm not at all upset about him. But he's not a real good indicator of what I think the Turtles Mirage Studios line is going to be. So let's start there. The one of them that I'm thinking I would really like to see because of the Mirage Studios really down and dirty, grittier look is a Mirage Studios Triceraton. I remember getting a Triceraton when I was a kid, just, you know, the old school Playmate stuff. I thought he was a really cool design, even then. Now, if NECA goes just all in on more of the scary Triceratops-looking creature that he is in the comics, ooh, I think that could be killer on the shelf. And that's one of those figures you can put with almost anywhere. I could see Batman throwing down with a Triceraton. I wonder if that's happened in the comics. Alright, next up, Karai. Now, I don't know if I would prefer her Mirage Studios or her IDW version more. I know we've got the down and dirty look of the Mirage Studios version going on, and I like that. I just think it looks great. I really like comic book style when it comes to that particular look, I suppose. But the IDW version looks pretty cool too, and she's a more fleshed out character. So I'm not sure. And I know before you go nuts and say, well, Dave, NECA's not really getting in. NECA is doing Last Ronin, kids. They are diving into IDW a little bit. Now, they haven't come out and said we're going to go nuts on IDW, but on the off chance they do, well, I guess for the sake of this video, I'll say I'd prefer a Mirage Studios Karai. I wouldn't be upset at all if they went IDW with her either. Next up would be an IDW Crane. Yes, Crane, and yes, IDW again. Mostly because, and help me out, I could be wrong, I didn't read a lot of the later Mirage Studios stuff. I don't think Krang ever showed up in the Mirage Studios comics. But I really dig him in the IDW comics. And I know that we're getting Utroms in Mirage Studios, so having Krang be more IDW would set him apart a little bit and give him maybe a slightly more prominent place on the shelf. But yeah, I think he's really sweet. And I'm not big into the Archie look so much. Now, I know that he looks kind of like the Archie look looks a lot like the cartoons. And I don't prefer the cartoon look for almost anything. And I know the IDW look has some of that going on, but he still has more of a creepy little sinister look going too for the old Crane, the old pink matter, gray matter, the old little brainy dude that I just think is kind of cool, creepy. I like that NECA does a lot of horror stuff because I feel like characters like Triceraton and Crane could be done really creepily. Like really kind of scary figures that I think would look really, because who doesn't like saying really a lot, cool. And last but not least, at least when it comes to the IDW figures, I want a Slash. I want a huge, monstrous, beefy buddy with Michelangelo turned psycho. I want that Slash. I want that just enormous, awesome looking, tough figure that nobody wants to throw down with. And I don't know what it is. I'm not usually that guy, but there's just something really endearing about what he was in the comics. At least what he's been up through where I've read. I'm rereading IDW right now, and I'm in the 60s or the 70s. So recently is when he kind of just went a little loopy, and the bad dudes, the human little group there, has control of his brain, all that stuff. That's where I'm at. So, yeah, I want that Slash. There's just something really cool, menacing. You never know which version you're going to get. He's going to be either just an awesome hero and just a fun little party guy, or he's going to be a psycho and you're going to have all kinds of craziness going on. I can only imagine the pictures I could have with the Turtles throwing down with that Slash, or that Slash throwing down with a whole lot of foot soldiers, whatever it would take to be just awesome. Of course, then he'd have to throw down with Splinter, too. Man, IDW is messed up, but oh so cool. And finally, my most wanted NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comics action figure. Who is the king? That's right, folks. I want a figure of Kirby from the Mirage Studios books with Donatello, because very clearly that's Jack Kirby, people. And I have the Marvel Legends Stan Lee, and standing next to him would be a beautiful NECA Jack Kirby figure. I would have two titans of comicdom that I would probably never get rid of unless they made better versions down the line. I'm fickle like that. But yes, I would say, honestly, my number one want from any Turtles line right now is Jack Kirby. I know. Who'd have thunk it? So that was my top 5 figures I'd like to see from NECA's Turtles comics lines. Woo! Comment below. Let me know what 5 figures you'd like to see. And don't worry, I know I didn't touch on the obvious ones, but let's be honest. They're the obvious ones. Kids, you're going to get the Turtles in every incarnation NECA can do. You're going to get Casey. You're going to get April. You're going to get Shredder and the Foot Clan all over the place. You're going to get Bebop and Rocksteady where applicable. I would bet money on all that happening simply because of how deep they seem to be going. I look at their cartoon line. I don't collect it, but I pay attention to it. There are figures on there I don't remember. And I watch the tune, and I tend to have a pretty good memory for that stuff, which is strange. Yeah. Anywho, I'm going to put some links below to Big Bad Toy Store instead of Amazon today. Help you guys out so you can find all the comic figures that NECA is either releasing right now or have on pre-order. But if you'd like to help out the channel, just check any of the previous few videos and go ahead and click on one of those Amazon links. Buy whatever you want. You don't need to buy what the thing links you to in order to help out Toypixx. So if you can do that, I appreciate it. And if you can't, hey, I appreciate the view. So that's all I've got for this one, folks. Remember, have fun and happy snapping. See ya.